So, Square Enix decided to add Animal Crossing to the newest patch for Final Fantasy XIV. Now, I've had a lot of people tell me that I shouldn't compare Island Sanctuary to Animal Crossing because they're nothing alike. The joke's on you guys though, because I've never played an Animal Crossing game in the first place. Anyways, after spending more time than I probably should on the new Island Sanctuary, I wanted to make a video about it, because I've really enjoyed what there is to this content so far. So, how do you actually get access to the Island Sanctuary? Well, unfortunately, in order to actually get an island of your own, you're gonna have to complete Endwalker, the latest expansion. I know, if you're just starting, it means you're not gonna get to this content for, well, like, minimum 300 hours. Why did Mr. Yoshi P decide to lock all this content behind the completion of the entire game? I need you to imagine for just a second if anyone and everyone on the free trial had access to their own island sanctuary. People would neglect the story and simply play on their island completely for free. You can't even tell me that's unrealistic, because I know like 4 people personally who would do exactly that. Let's back up a second to that whole neglecting story thing. It doesn't even really make sense narratively for the player to have access to the Island Sanctuary until the completion of Endwalker anyways. At least to me it doesn't. After Endwalker, you deserve a chance to relax, damn it, and the Island Sanctuary provides that for the player. Well, for some players. Getting back on track here, you've completed Endwalker. Where do you start if you want to get access to Stardew Valley? Well, someone forgot to grab footage of this, I won't say who. You get the side quest from here though, in Old Charlian, by speaking with a clueless crier who's under the employ of Tataru, everyone's favorite potato. Tataru straight up asks if you want a private island of your own, and most people, me included, were like, yeah? She tells you to head to Moribee Dry Docks, speak with Baldin, and then you will be on the way to your new island paradise. Upon teleporting to Lower Lanosia, you will very quickly see the NPC you'd like to speak to surrounded by at least 20 people, no matter what time of day it is. This is because AFKing on your island for more than 30 minutes actually kicks you off the island, I'm assuming in an attempt to reduce server load. Thank the heavens above that Square Enix had the foresight to kick AFK people in a spot that doesn't block you from speaking with Baldin, otherwise a lot of people would be Malden. You finally arrive on your island, warm sun beating down on your face, and you realize this place is huge. Like, this place is honestly way bigger than I was expecting it to be. Am I the only one? Tataru gives you a quick show around, and then hands the situation over to a mammoth, which if you don't know what a mammoth is, it's essentially just a little robot created to do work. Thankfully, mammoths don't have rights. This particular mammoth, known as the Felicitous Furball, is pretty lazy and prefers to divvy the work up among the other mammoths that have also been hired to help with the development of your sanctuary. Thus, the facetious Fuzzball becomes the head of operations for your island sanctuary and, with a bit of snark, will be the one who helps you realize its completion. She instructs you to go gather some materials, and you take a small little path away from the main area until you reach the wilds. Now, this is no Breath of the Wild seeing Hyrule for the first time moment, but after making it a bit out into the open, you'll realize just how big this place is. They even have Bikini Bottom off the coast of the east side of the island, but Square Enix won't let you go see it. Not to mention, every corner of the map has a gathering point and animals that spawn, which really gives the feeling that no part of this expansive island is going to waste. Except, some of it is, but we'll get to that later. After gathering some materials, you're instructed to make an axe, which can help you gather wood from trees, then said wood can be used to upgrade your island and make tools for your mammoths to further expand the island, which levels you up, unlocking a new crafting recipe for a shiny tool which allows you to gather new items which will help you make a new tool, and you can see where this is going. This is the gameplay loop of the Sanctuary, at its most basic anyways. In addition to your core gameplay loop of gathering and upgrading, you get access to farming and taking care of animals that you've captured. While the farming is pretty basic, there are a large variety of animals and even rare animals that only spawn at certain times and in certain weather, which are very fun to keep an eye out for. Although they have rudimentary implementation, they mesh well enough with the other parts of the sanctuary to provide a nice task to check off the list when you're coming here daily. Now is as good a time as any to talk about the different modes you can activate while interacting with the various parts of your island, all of which you should have access to by this point. There's Free, which is essentially not having a mode, Gather, which will allow you to harvest from gathering points, as well as fully grown plants and animals that like you enough. There's also Sow, Water, and Coal, relating to your farming, which allow you to plant seeds, water them, or remove them in that order. Then there's Feed, Pet, Beckon, and Capture, which all relate to your animals. Capture allows you to choose a net that you've crafted in order to, well, capture animals. Feed allows you to give them Stockholm Syndrome. Beckon will call your newly Pavloved animals to you, and while the game claims Pet has no real purpose, I have to remind Kanye that he was my first and favorite animal somehow. Around the time that you gain access to the last of these actions, you'll be able to place minions down around various points on the island, up to a total of 40 across the whole sanctuary. I think this is a really cool way to show some minions that the player might not keep summoned all the time some love, and I for one instantly put the Major General on the beach. This is also where you'll realize that major progression in all of its forms is time gated, and try as you might, there will come a point where you'll have to wait, and no amount of grinding will save you. Trust me, I tried. This is because of two key reasons: Seafarers Calories and buildings along with their upgrades taking a large amount of real life time. I haven't really touched on buildings since we've got here, so let's focus on those. There are two types: production-based buildings, which have an active impact on your island's growth, and landmark buildings, which are just for show. There's also your cozy cabin, a home base that's upgrades are purely cosmetic and give you nothing but the island experience you would normally get for an upgrade, at least as far as I can tell. Let's start with the production-based buildings, workshops and granaries. Workshops are what will be your main source of Seafarers Calories, the currency that is necessary to see your island to completion. The workshop interface itself could be a video in its own right, but the basic gist of it is that you take materials that you've gathered, instruct the mammoths to craft items that take real life time to finish, and effectively turn calories into a limited resource in one swift move. The upgrades for the workshop, according to my research, increase the speed of production by 1.2 times at level 2 and 1.5 times at level 3, so for anyone looking to maximize profits, you should probably prioritize your workshops. Granaries, on the other hand, cost Seafarers Calories to operate, and will send mammoths to a location of your choice to gather resources, as well as rare resources that can only be obtained through granary expeditions. Level 2 and Level 3 increase the amount of materials that the mammoths can return with. The most important thing about both of these buildings is that you can use them while they're being upgraded, so there is no reason to wait if you can afford an upgrade. In case you're using this as a guide, you really shouldn't be, keep in mind that Level 3 upgrades for the workshop will take raw island garnet, and Level 3 granaries will require island spruce logs, so try to send your initial granary expeditions to the Fatal Falls and Wild Woods to get these materials earlier. Or don't, I'm not your doctor. The landmarks are constructible buildings that serve no purpose other than looking good and giving you the EXP for making them. With that in mind, the lighthouse goes here, the bathhouse goes here, tree fort goes here, and the windmill goes at the very top, up here. No, I don't take constructive criticism. Every upgrade to your island as a whole takes Seafarers Calories, not to be confused with Islanders Calories. One is blue and the other is green. Seafarers Calories are the currency you'll need every time you want to expand the island, your farm, or your pasture. Anything where the mammoths will be clearing stuff out, you have to pay them for their work, and in these conditions, you better hope they don't unionize. This means that you could repeatedly reach points where you'll have all the materials for a certain project after grinding them up for hours, and realize you don't have enough calories and have to wait until the next day anyways. On top of that, the calorie shop that's open in your cozy cabin sells some pretty cool looking stuff, mounts, hairstyles, all sorts of interesting things. And if you didn't know when you bought those interesting things that calories were going to be extremely hard to come by, you're going to have to wait on your workshops to produce items before you can fully expand your island, even though you spent hours of your life grinding away so you would have more than enough materials to expand your island. But it turns out that Square Enix does not play like that, and you had to learn the hard way. My point is, don't rush the Island Sanctuary. Take your time with it. It's not something that is really meant to be rushed, and I think it's best enjoyed at a slow and leisurely pace. Something you do for 30 minutes or so at the end of the day, or passively while you wait for your roulettes or raid finder. But I maxed it out like day 5 because I'm a filthy slut for this kind of thing in games. I mean, I'm an Omnicrafter for a reason. So what do you get for maxing out your sanctuary? Well, in case you don't want to be spoiled on the in-game rewards for the island, skip to this timestamp to get to the last part of the video. Everyone out? Good. So, your island sanctuary maxes out at rank 10, but is actually technically finished at rank 9. Once you've reached rank 9 and crafted every production building and landmark, the upgrades don't matter for the production buildings, you get a quest where Tataru comes to check on the progress you've made. She brings along an old friend, whom you may or may not recognize, and essentially your reward is a glamour set. But there's something about this glamour set that makes it special, different from other rewards. That's right. You get booty shorts. Well, that's the reward for technical island completion. But what about rank 10, the point of no return? For that, you unlock the ability to fly. That's a pretty cool reward, but do you remember earlier when I said that some of this expansive island is going to waste? Yeah, turns out the areas you can reach by flying are pretty big letdowns. Most of them don't even have any gathering points, or for that matter, anything interesting about them at all to make the ability to fly worth it. There could have been cool hidden landmarks, rare animals that can only spawn in fly-only areas, or maybe even unique materials, as a reward for grinding up to rank 10. But no, only sadness, as the coolest landmark you can find is this waterfall coming out of the side of this mountain, and this resource circle that makes grinding ores easier. Not that it's very useful once you've maxed your island anyways. I've spoken decently in depth about every aspect of the Island Sanctuary that I like or find appealing. One thing I can say is that it's definitely a wonderful distraction for roulette queuing and raid finder, and I probably would have been better off treating it as such, but these sorts of systems and games always tend to suck me in. I hope I didn't miss anything, but let me know of anything you think is cool that I might have skimmed over. While I have a few complaints, such as the calorie system forcing things to be time-gated, or the fact that this entire instanced giant island exists and yet we can't get instanced housing or potentially more neighborhoods. Overall though, I'm very happy with 6.2, the Island Sanctuary update. Wait, what do you mean they added story quests? I just wanted to say thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate any and all support you guys are giving my way. I try to read and respond to every comment, whether that's a reply or a heart, and I will try to do that for as long as I can. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and remember, if you see my character walking around Zelda, no you didn't.